It is pretty impressive. Got to tell you, the guy's pretty impressive. Apparently, we're going to talk to him a little bit about it, find out. Pete, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Scotland.
Happy to
for
be
this
here.
event.
Absolutely.
Right? So, okay, so you're coming here. This is a big social media event. What are you looking for at this event? What do you think is going to be the hot thing?
So I think what everyone's talking about is location this year, and it's been kind of brewing for a few years. But this year there's a real kind of competition between, there's a local startup called Koala, and there's another one called Foursquare out of New York. And what these startups let you do is you basically can see where your friends are at any time. They check into different venues, so you can say, hey, all my friends are going to this venue, I should check that out. And I think that's really what people are talking about this year is how does location play in, how does mobile play in. Obviously South by Southwest is a real melting pot for really early adopter users who are using all these services. So one of those is going to break out.
So I have to ask you, because we have an investor audience, obviously, and sometimes when we talk about things like Foursquare and Twitter, you know, how do these things monetize? When you look at a geolocation and how that plays into social media and kind of where it means for media as a whole, how do you see that kind of being actually something you can monetize?
So Foursquare has a program for local businesses, and what they can do is if you check in a certain bar, you might get a free drink. They have a badge program, so if you check in somewhere often, you become the mayor. So these businesses have a platform to make money, and obviously Foursquare can make money because people are going into bars or they're going into clubs.
That's sustainable? Do you think that these companies are able to grow just purely on social media and location?
You know, location-based advertising is the absolute gold mine, because if you're walking past your favorite store and it says, hey, come into the store, 10% off today, that's a huge opportunity. So I think location more than anything, actually the opportunity is really, really obvious for monetization. I think it is sustainable.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of what consumers want at the next level of social media, right? So as Mashable, you guys track so much that's going on. What do you think outside of geolocation is what consumers are going to want for the next step of social media?
So there's a few major trends. One of them is this real-time trend, which has been going on for about a year, which is that everyone wants everything right now. And that kind of ties in some of those location services, but also things like Twitter and Facebook, where you have this real-time feed and you want to know what all your friends are doing right now. Mobile's another big one, obviously, and that ties back into the location trend.
So I have to ask you about mobile. Obviously today the iPad goes on sale, the Wi-Fi, will not go on sale, you can pre-sale order it.
Pre-order.
So how do you think that the iPad, or will it, change the face of social media?
So the iPad is definitely a play that is looking towards publishers, and particularly ebooks and magazines. And I think those are going to be really, really interesting once we see, I know that magazines like Wired are doing special editions for the iPad. And I think what that will introduce is a kind of an ability to charge the customer again, because on the web people are so used to free, but on things like the iPhone they're used to buying applications. So if we can train people to be buying ebooks or buying magazines, it could, you know, make media monetizable again.
Last question here, and that is Mashable is reportedly valued at about $125 million. What's your exit strategy for a blog? What's the exit strategy for a blog?
Right now, I'm really, you know, we're really enjoying being an independent company, and I think it's really quite.
But you have people interested in you.
You have
AOL interested in you, for instance. You have, I mean, there's ad revenue deals, perhaps. I mean, what's the plan?
You know, I think a lot of these blogs have the opportunity to become really big media powerhouses, and I think, you know, those that have really got the initial traction are just going to carry on growing and growing and growing. We've already got the critical mass that we need to, I think, become a major media player.
So will we see something like Mashable, you think, go public ever, an IPO of this type of thing?
I'm always skeptical about IPOs. We're only just seeing the IPO market come back for some of these really big web companies. I don't see an IPO in the immediate future.